mean, did you, because, you know, a lot of times opening acts don't, like, did you interact with Britney at all?
So I did get to meet her, and I got to meet her sons, and she was so sweet to me, and she told me, thank you so much for coming on the tour, and I love your music. My babies love your songs. They know your song. And she was just like, if you need anything, you know, let me know. She's like, thank you so much. I'm so honored you're here. I was just like, I'm so honored to be here. I was like, I absolutely love you, and thank you so much for choosing me.
Did she seem shy? Because, like, Britney's kind of shy.
Yeah, she was a little shy, and she had a really thick accent. She had a really thick accent. She's like, thank you so much. My babies love your song. And she was just being so sweet. And I remember being like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm talking to Britney Spears.
Were there a lot of, like, you know, listen, and I'm not, this is no shade, because a lot of acts, you know, I understand how it works. Like, were there a lot of rules? Like, did people go over, like, you know, don't interact, like, that's Britney's wing, like, don't go down
Yeah.
that, like, it was like
Yeah,
what?
she
Like,
had a
tell me some of
very tight
those.
ship. Very, very tight ship, because it was right after she had her meltdown. So her dad had a very, very tight ship. And like anytime she was coming through the halls, everyone stopped. We literally froze. And it was like, move out the way. She's coming. She had an entourage. It was like right out of the movies. Like everything you could imagine, like it was absolutely. And so we never felt like we could talk to her, anything like that. So when I got to talk to her, I was just so, I was like surprised. And then I kind of felt bad because I obviously talked about it when I went back to my dressing room. And I was talking to my cousin about it because my cousin was on tour with me, and Jordan overheard, and she's like, you got to meet Britney? I want to meet Britney. And I was like, yeah.
How'd you get to meet her? Like, did you put in a request? Like, how did they come and say,
So
you're,
her manager took me over to her, and well, he came into my dressing room and was like, Brittany wants to meet you. So I,
wow.
I was like, right now? He's like, yeah, come on. I was like, okay. So I followed him to her dressing room.
So just out of nowhere, the manager appeared and said, by the way, Brittany wants to meet you. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it works. You're not going to say no.
No, no.
How did you know to, like, freeze in the halls? Like, did they tell you, like, if we ever see Brittany coming, freeze, or you just followed
I
suit?
felt
Because
like
that's,
it was just like a sense, like everyone knew, like you didn't even have to be told, you know? I think her team, like all the people who were working, because she had real circus people working there. Like everybody was in the circus because it was a circus tour. So like we had people from Las Vegas that were, you know, did the Cirque du Soleil. They were her performers. There were aerialists. There was fire breathers, like all kinds of different people there. So they knew, you know, because they would talk to me and my cousin and be like, yeah, you know, obviously we have some rules, and they would let us in on stuff. But we didn't, like, we were always in our dressing room or at catering. So we didn't ever really see her that often. But when we did, we just knew, like, okay, we gotta be still.
and you just stood there, like, in the hall still.
Yeah, and waited for her to, you know, pass by. And we would just stare at her and be like, you
Was
know,
there any time someone ever didn't or did something wrong and they were, like, called out, or, like, there was
if
drama?
they were, I never knew about it, but I did know that like the workers, like the guys that were like putting together the set and like the stage and stuff, they weren't even allowed to smoke cigarettes like on their breaks. Like they had to like leave the premises in order to go smoke cigarettes. So I remember that being a thing, and like I remember one of the guys was like always like leaving really, really far. And I would be like, why is he leaving so far? You know, and one of the other workers were like, because he wants to go smoke a cigarette. And I was like, oh, and they're like, yeah, you know, he can't even smoke a cigarette like around here. I was like, oh, okay.
Were you told in the beginning, like, this is, like, a clean backstage, like, like, were you, like, sat down, like, and told, like, rules, or it just, you just
No,
knew?
so like obviously, you know, we all had to sign contracts. So obviously like my manager and my lawyer looked over the contract.
And that specified like what not to do.
What?
And that specified
Yeah,
like
and they were
what
just
not
like,
to
don't do
do.
this. Exactly. Yeah. And so I just knew like, okay, these are the rules, you know? But also too, I was just so happy to be on tour with her that I was like, okay, whatever she wants. Like she could tell me every day I have to only wear blue and I would do it.
Yeah, and like there's no shade. I'm just like, I just listen, the average person in the world is not open for Britney Spears. So it's just was it in the contract? Like was there things spelled out like thou shalt not look Britney in the eyes or whatever? Like and like
I don't know because I didn't ever like thoroughly look at it. Now that I'm older, I look at all my contracts. But when I was younger, I just was like, just tell me the important stuff. But that's a good question. I'm maybe there was like certain things,
could you feel like because it was like first of all, I think the best for me, the best Britney album that's ever existed is right after the Meltdown. Blackout to me is the best Britney album ever.
Yeah, she had. I loved that album too. She's had a lot of great albums, and she always puts out good songs. Like she could like take a break and then be back on the map like that. That's what I love about her.
And I saw her in Vegas and like the whole last tour. It was great. Was
Yeah.
there like this frenetic energy like backstage because it was right after the Meltdown, like where people, like
Edge.
yeah, and like
Yeah.
her father never came in and gave a speech to everyone.
No, we barely saw him too, but it was a really good energy most of the time, which I'm really grateful for. We never felt like there was like any weirdness. The only time that it felt like, oh my God, we have to like be on our best behavior is when she was coming through the halls. But other than that, like it was the energy was good. And I'm grateful for that because, sometimes being on tour, I've heard other stories from other artists that like it was complete opposite. So I'm grateful for that. And, we had so much fun and the food was amazing. Like the catering was bomb. I saw Jamie a few times, which was really cool because I loved Jamie because I watched her show on Nickelodeon. And I got to meet her too and like her kids. But yeah, it was a very family oriented environment. You could tell that she had that support, which was great. I think that's important, especially because at the time, I think she was only like 24 or like she was young. She was still in her 20s.
What was Jordan Sparks like?
Oh, Jordan was awesome. Me and Jordan ended up getting really cool and we would like rehearse together and sing songs together. And I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember the flip cams?
Yeah.
Do you remember those from 2009? They were like really popular and everyone was using them. So the labels gave all the artists the flip cams. And so me and Jordan, we would like use our flip cams and like sing together. Obviously YouTube wasn't that popular then, but I'm thinking like if this was now, we would have like been all over YouTube, posting our experiences together because we had some good times.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
What about like, I mean, I don't know if you were involved, but like, what about like, because people go to see an act like Britney Spears, like, was there ever anyone that came backstage or you were just kind of in your own area? Like, listen, if like, I don't know, Madonna, Ellen, whoever like goes to see Britney, they're going to go backstage. Like, did you ever see someone walking around backstage? You're like, oh my God, that's so-and-so.
You know what? No, I never did. That's a good question. I had LA Reid and Babyface come visit me at the Madison Square Garden, which was really cool. They came to see me after my show.
Are you the type to get starstruck or just, I mean, not really?
I think not anymore, but like at that time I still was for sure because it was all still very new. But I mean, I met a lot even when I was in my teens. But I just, I tried not to act starstruck, even though I was. But now that I'm older, I'm used to it, because I've been around so many people.
Totally.
And you just after a while, you're just like, they're people too,
And like Britney's one step removed from Justin, so.
I know.
What do you think now about like the whole Free Britney movement?
Oh my gosh. I don't believe it. I know that sounds like awful because a lot of people do, but I don't think, I think she's happy and I think she's living her life and she's just been through a lot and you know, she's dealing with it how she deals with it and leave her alone. That's what I really feel about it. I'm like, just leave this woman alone. Let her live her life. She's been through a lot already and you know, she just leave her be. You know, she seems happy with her amazingly handsome fiance, and you know, she's in amazing shape. She looks great.
She
Um,
does.
she's you can tell she's in a different place in her life, and I think that a lot of people are just, you know, they don't understand because they didn't live her story. They don't know what she's been through. Nobody does. I don't even know. But I am empathetic to her because I could only imagine, you know, what she's been through. Of course you're not going to be the same person, you know, that you were when you were 15 years old singing Oops, I Did It Again, you know? So I expect this. I expect for her to evolve and grow and, you know, have a little bit of some challenges and, you know, maybe even some, you know, some and things that she probably internalized that she projects that can come off the wrong way, if that makes any sense.